Volkswagen. I know the auto industry is forever changing and technology is becoming more and more advanced, but please consider... Oh, sorry. I was just writing an email to Volkswagen asking the company to keep the Taos' infotainment system as it is, instead of moving to the buttonless nonsense that ravages some other Volkswagen vehicles. Behind me is a 2023 Volkswagen Taos, and before we take a closer look at what a simple and easy to use infotainment system looks like, let's get a closer look at the exterior. This tested Taos, pronounced as though it rhymes with house, as fellow auto journalist Jill McIntosh pointed out in her review last year, is painted in King's Red Metallic, and for that reason alone, it'll likely stand out in a sea of compact SUVs that are more than likely painted in a dull gray, black, or white. These 19-inch alloy wheels are an additional $500 on top of the $37,695 that the top Highline trim costs before adding the $2,050 destination fee. Pricing-wise, the Highline is a bit more costly than its competition. Head over to Driving.ca and you'll find a fairly recent crossover comparison that includes the Taos, along with the Toyota Corolla Cross and Kia Seltos, both of which are cheaper than the Taos in their top trim. The Subaru Crosstrek and Jeep Compass also compete in this segment and will most likely win over those consumers wanting a more rugged ride, but that Compass can definitely be pricier than the Taos. But enough about the others. If you're concerned about the price, you can get a base Taos for under $30,000. With either front wheel or all-wheel drive, but the destination fee and taxes will most definitely get you back over the $30,000 mark. Bumping down to that base trend line, however, also means you'll be missing out on a few features that may be deemed necessary for some VW owners. The sunroof is standard in the Highline, but not in the base, as is adaptive stop-and-go cruise control, leather seats as opposed to cloth, a heated steering wheel, wireless phone charger, 7-speaker Beats audio system, which is actually pretty awesome, as well as the ventilated seats. Another thing that may or may not be a deal breaker is the infotainment screen. The base has a 6.5-inch touchscreen, while this tester has a 10.3-inch screen. I recently drove the Golf GTI that had a 10-inch screen and pretty much no physical buttons, and found it annoying because when wirelessly connected to Apple CarPlay, the icons were small and hard to accurately touch when driving over bumpy roads. Thankfully, this setup is nothing like that. When connected to CarPlay, the icons are bigger and easy to tap. I wasn't originally a fan of giant screens in vehicles, but as cars become more technologically advanced and more things are housed within that screen, it's nice to be able to have access to intuitive systems as well as ones that are efficient. I know it's a big ask, especially since I've seen the buttonless Golf GTI and can only assume that's what's in store for the future of Volkswagen, but I really and truly hope that these physical HVAC buttons remain a staple part of the Volkswagen Taos, because it just makes things so much simpler and easy to use. And kudos to Volkswagen for soldiering on with the volume and tuning knobs, as well as a traditional shifter. If we must eventually move toward less physical buttons, then at the very least we can hope for an upgrade that incorporates touch points that are a bit larger. So it's not the most luxurious seating, but it is pretty comfortable. It's a bit firmer than most rides, but I don't mind that. You've got your 8-way powered seating on the side here. Unfortunately for the passenger, they don't have the luxury of power seating. They've got a manual push their seat back and forth. There's no head-up display or digital rear-view mirror, but neither is missed in this subcompact crossover. In my personal experience, for a family of 5, this SUV is pushing our limits a bit. Yes, my 3 kids and their 3 different sizes of car seats manage to fit in the second row, and there are latch systems on all 3 seats if needed, but I wouldn't quite call it a comfortable fit. If the Taos is going to be the family vehicle, then it's probably best for a smaller sized family, or maybe even as a second vehicle that can be used for a quick grocery trip. You know, when something like the bigger Tiguan, Atlas, or even the all-new ID Buzz isn't required. If you do happen to take the Taos on a grocery run, you'll have more than enough cargo space. With all the seats up, it has 705 liters of space, which is more than many of its competitors. The shape of the vehicle also ensures a good amount of usable space. Note that if you are using the cargo cover, you'll have a little less space to stack things up, but I can appreciate the use and need for a cargo cover that can easily hide valuables, baby bags, or anything else that might be stored back there for longer periods of time. If you do need a little extra space, the back seat has a 60-40 split, so either can be folded down or both sides can be folded down, so you open up a maximum of 1,705 liters. Also note the convenient pass-through in the middle that looks similar to a doggy door. But how does the Taos feel on the road? It's a comfortable ride. It's really kind of plain, and I've got almost nothing to say about it, but in the best way possible. There's a bit of a jerk when you hit the acceleration, but a bit of practice using a lighter foot should solve the problem. The steering is light and somewhat loose, but also just stiff enough to make you feel like you've got control of the vehicle. The Taos' 1.5-liter i4 is good for 158 horsepower and 184 pound-foot of torque. While Volkswagen plans for an all-electric fleet by 2040, the Taos isn't yet offered with any kind of electric component. Until then, you'll have to make do with a combined highway and city driving average of 8.5 liters per 100 kilometers. As the sedan segment is slowly declining, it seems like a small SUV might be the next best thing for shoppers who seem to want something slightly bigger. The 2023 Volkswagen Taos, though it may be a bit pricier than some of its competition, is a great option if you're looking for something with a spacious interior and modern technology with a few traditional components such as physical buttons. For Driving.ca, I'm Renita Narain. For more SUV reviews and news, check out Driving.ca or visit us on social media. Now back to my letter. Please keep the infotainment as it is and include physical HVAC buttons forever.